catch this thing called information overload. And if you put 100% into something, you're obviously going to attain that result better than if you were to put 50-50 into two things. The quote goes for a lot of things. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big podcast. This is the show where we talk about the simple and yet complicated ideas of self-improvement. Tune in and join us as we become the best versions of ourselves so that you guys can too. Alright, remember to like and subscribe for more. Today, me and Josh are going to be throwing hands. Which does not shut the fuck up. I'm trying to introduce us. Sorry. There you go. Alright, but we actually are going to be going at it because a couple of minutes ago he informed me that I should be reading books, which I don't have anything against about, but he's telling me I should be reading books.
You have nothing
but you kind of do.
I don't. You don't.
I know. I don't.
You don't read.
I don't. Yeah.
You said.
But that doesn't mean I have anything against it.
Well, I mean,
you said I'm not going to read books because
I'm not going to read it. That doesn't mean
money.
I'm not going to have anything against it.
That's not going to make.
That doesn't mean I'm against it.
Okay.
Then why don't you do it?
Because I don't have time. You can say that's an excuse,
always
but I'd rather prioritize my time into something else, and that's what we're going to get into.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to be talking about how similar.
How Sasha's
is
stupid. Let's get into it.
We're going to talk about how similar obtaining money is versus retaining it. Obtaining and retaining. If you don't know what retention is, it's just the act of continuously getting something back or keeping a possession. And in Josh's case, when it comes to money, we're just going to be talking about interest in growing it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Josh, I want to ask you first, right now.
I think we're going over most important. So which one of this is more important?
Okay. So what do we think is more important? And it's not just going to be me and Josh.
Yeah,
you two are not
yeah.
excluded.
But we can go in circles.
I would argue.
Well, when you say more important, we have to kind of dig deep into more of the context. Does this imply that right now, where you don't have much money, or is it implied when you do have the money, you do have a lot of money in your bank? In that case,
Well, considering the fact that most people start at ground zero, I think we should go into the fact that
ground zero. Okay.
Yeah.
But what do you think would be? Do you think the positions of the most important would change when you have the money and when you don't?
I think so.
I agree.
In my opinion.
It would.
So you would think that keeping money is more important when you already have money.
Yes.
But getting money would be more important when you don't have money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We're already agreeing. Crap.
Well,
I don't know. I guess that could be debatable, but let's get into it.
Well, why do you think
let's start from the beginning.
Why do you think that's debatable?
Well, I think knowing how to make money still has to be something that you have to know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, prioritizing the keeping money, it depends on what kind of position you are. If you're like in scaling, like you're scaling the money and stuff, you got to learn how to scale money more and more. But I don't think it really takes away from the fact that you still have to know how to make the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
because making money is also growing money.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So honestly, I don't even think we should even get into what's most important. Like, who gives a fuck? All right.
Well,
it's too broad.
It's just for the audience to kind of understand where your head's at, so that they can understand what argument you're making.
So my answer to what's more important is, I don't have an answer. That's completely up to whoever's watching or you, like the person being asked that question. It's for them to decide. I'm not going to decide what's more important for you or anyone else.
But how about for you?
For me, myself right now, I would say getting money because at this current point in time, I don't have that much of it. So instead of me learning how I can retain it and invest in the stock market and get those percent gains, I'd rather focus on what I can do that give me that big money so I can start a company and scale it up to it, et cetera, et cetera. But that might not be the case for some of you guys. Like if you have your 6 figures plus, you might be asking yourself, all right, well, I already have this, so why should I care about that? Let me just talk about how I can get 5% gains over yearly returns.
But you have to be able to even manage those like $1,000 that you're gonna make off of a business, anything, whether it's sales or anything. You have to be able to manage the money you're gonna have.
Yeah, but that goes for both scenarios.
Yeah, I think
so.
Didn't you say you have to focus on? Don't you want to focus also making money and at the same time read books about how to manage money? So that way you know both.
You worded when you answered, you worded it in a manner where you sounded like you shouldn't focus on retaining money at all.
Because you said I have to focus on making money. I'm asking you, isn't it good if you focus on both? Where you read books about how to maintain money, so how to keep in track of the money. At the same time, you focus on making money. So that way you know both skills. because
Well-
you need both in order to make a lot of money.
Because if you don't know how to keep track of money,
In order
you
not
won't
to make a lot of money, but in order to attain wealth.
So
Yeah.
my argument against that is absolutely you should probably be focusing on both. But the problem with focusing on both is you might catch this thing called information overload. And if you put 100% into something, you're obviously going to attain that result better than if you were to put 50-50 into two things. The quote goes for a lot of things. Like the guy, who do you fear more? The person that practices 100 kicks one time, or the person that practices one kick 100 times? You're obviously going to fear the guy that practices one kick 100 times, because the one with 100 kicks, he might not do anything. But the whole point of the quote is to show you that information overload is a concept that you need to be wary of. All right, and when you're talking about making money, and it's so broad because there's so many different ways you can work a job, blah blah, etc. Anything. There's too many concepts, and you need to keep it simple. I think that's how you should. You hear all these like billionaires, entrepreneurs, they'll tell you that you should keep it simple. You shouldn't overcomplicate for something for yourself. For example, in my scenario where I'm doing trading, one strategy only. There is a reason that the most successful traders only have one strategy, and there is a reason that the most successful businessmen focus on one business at a time, and then once they've completed that, they go on to the next one. I mean, me and Josh, we can confirm that because we had a conversation the other day with someone who's...
I would like to chime in.
Okay, go for it.
I think that analogy you use of the 100 can be applied correctly in one way, but this is not the situation we're at. Here's the thing. When you said 100 kicks...
It absolutely is.
No. So
Because
first of all,
you're
there's
parting
only
your
two.
attention away.
There's only two
Let him talk.
situations, not 100.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So at most, right, it's 50-50 in the situation where you're saying split. But let me tell you, when you're practicing one kick versus 100 kicks, they're different. Every kick is different. The retention of money and obtaining money are the same thing. They're the same concept in a way that is, you need both.
Mm-hmm.
You need both at the end of the day. So when you say, do you need 100 kicks? No. Technically you only need one. But we're not talking about kicking, we're talking about money. Right? In this concept of money, you can make as much money as you fucking want, which is right now you saying you should pay 100% on making all the money. But guess what? How are you going to obtain any of it? You're not. Like, that's the reality. If you're not focusing anything. Yeah, I like the way you're thinking and everything, but they're completely coincide together, which is you can't just focus on one. You have to focus on both. And the thing that you're missing here is you think it has to be 50-50. No. I understand what's more valuable to you right now is making money, not keeping the money. That's why you put 80% into that and 20% into focusing on how to retain. It doesn't have to be 50-50, and that's where you're kind of getting it wrong. There's only two ways, but it's not. It is as important, but right now, at the position you are, you should focus more on making money. That doesn't mean you should completely ignore the other.
Okay, so
Right, that's why you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't really say that I'm going to put 100% in making money, because like the word itself, like business and making money, has to do with a lot of things. You don't just you're not just a businessman because you make a lot of money. It comes within sales, right? Being able to talk to customers or being able to keep the money. So those stuff you're going to need anyway. So might as well put like a little bit of every knowledge, and it's going to build up to 100%.
At least the basics, I think.
Yeah, sure. But I want to bank off of what you said. Two things. First of all, I think it's funny what you just said because the camera doesn't know it yet, but when we were talking about the habits as far as whether they're similar or not, you said they're not similar. But what you just told me implies that you think they are similar because you just said they coincide, right? And that they're one in one. But we'll get to that discussion later.
No,
My second problem.
Let's get it now.
My second thing is I want to bring up with your comparison.
Come on.
Look at the meaning of the comparison 100 to 2, sure. The point of a comparison, or an analogy rather, is to look at the message of it. Alright? Which in the message is that if you're parting your attention to do separate ways, whether it's 2, 3, 100, whatever, that attention is nonetheless split. Now if you were to focus that attention into one, what?
They're not separate.
What is not
The
separate?
two things are not separate.
The act of gaining money and the act of retaining it are
They're
not separate.
in terms of
In a
wealth.
way, it is.
What makes you think it's not?
They are separate in
Josh,
physical
someone
meaning,
who is...
but what is the point of those two things? What is the end goal of those two? To attain wealth.
Yeah.
They are.
Okay. But how do you go as to get that?
What do you mean?
So if I'm trying to gain or obtain money, don't you think I'm going to be hyper aggressive and I'm going to be scaling up my businesses, going heavy with this risk, which is essentially, it's not something you can avoid. You have to risk. You have to take that sacrifice. Blah blah blah. You have to, right? But once I'm already at that 7-figure range, then I can just settle back and then I can just start investing in the stock market, which is exactly why people say investing is not for poor people, all right? It's for the wealthy because it helps them gain more wealth. If you already have that, because then that's when you start to get 5 to 10% of your gains, right?
Why do you believe
But what is that to $100?
The retention of money is only investing? Or why is that the only thing you're using it as?
Because when we were having the discussion, you were talking about trading, and that's what my focus is in. By trading, I'm going to learn through how to help invest as well.
Isn't retaining money budgeting?
Well, I mean, yeah, everything is. So is
budgeting
obtaining money.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you on the investing part that you should. It only really works.
All of it's budgeting.
I mean,
obtaining. How is obtaining? Obtaining is no different. It's just as budgeting as
but
retaining.
that's retention. Budgeting is more towards
I think it's,
how do you retain the money that you have made. That's what budgeting is for. How to retain money, not how to make money. That's part of the retention.
What do you mean when you say budgeting?
Budgeting, in my opinion, that way I perceive it is when someone wants to see how much cash is going in and how much cash is going out. It will not help you maintain more cash. It will not help you obtain more cash.
Okay.
It will rather help you keep more money. Because
Keep
you
track
know
of
where
going
your money
in and going
is
out.
going.
When I'm starting a business, am I not looking at the same thing? I'm looking at what's going in and on what's going out.
But
By
what is
the
it
act of
helping
me
you towards?
to obtain more money.
How?
That's why I'm starting the business.
Oh, yeah,
Josh,
actually,
what you're
no,
saying, I don't
see.
agree with
I
what
mean,
you're saying at all. Actually, I think you're dead wrong. But this, I'm sorry. I think you need to reconsider what you said because it's the same thing. When you the output and the input, it's a formula, dude. It's the same. Whatever you output or input, you're gonna get vice versa, right? It's the same thing for
I
retaining.
understand
But
where
if
you're
I'm
going,
doing
but budgeting will not help you make more money. It'll help you keep
you
more
should
money.
focus it.
That's
Yeah,
keeping.
sure.
Budgeting will help keep your money.
Uh huh.
That is not obtaining more
But
money.
that's
That is more money in your account, but that does not mean you're making more.
okay.
That just means you're keeping more. That's
Yeah.
retention, no?
But you need a budget for both. That's what I said. I said you need budgeting for both. You said budgeting is more of retaining.
More of, yeah. That doesn't mean it's not both.
All right, but I'm telling you it's both. So
Well, what is it more of?
it's more
That was my
retaining. Sure.
argument. Yeah, that was my argument, is it not?
No, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But I'm not saying you should discard
So
it
why did you say I'm
entirely or
dead
anything
wrong?
like
I
that.
didn't discard it.
Because I don't think you said more of at the beginning. Well, I guess we'll
Maybe.
have to learn.
Okay,
Right?
no, I have to-
I don't know. Regardless, point.
Okay.
Georgie Sedula, thoughts?
Dude, I was just gonna say, I think it's also trial and error. Like, if you put in most of your time in like getting money and stuff, and you see that your skill of not being able to retain that money is going down, and you don't know how to manage the money. Like, you keep making the money, you got the skill of making the money, but then that money goes to waste because you make the mistakes in investing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna know that, okay, maybe you should slow down into like making money. Not literally just slow down, like not learn and progress through like making more money, but focus a little more attention to keeping the money, putting into different stuff to make more money, all that kind of stuff. So it's just like, I think you just have to try both with like 100% or a little more than the other in order to understand which one works better. And then eventually you're gonna, I feel like, get to the level where you are able to manage both together.
I don't understand
One
why
is
you
always
would
gonna be
use
greater than the
100% to, let's say, making money and like 0% on anything else that has to do with.
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask Sasha this question. What is your goal with making money, right? How much money do you want to make before you get to the part of thinking more into managing that money, or like keeping that money at a steady level, at least for a point?
7 figures.
7 figures?
7
Don't you
figures.
think that's a lot?
It is,
$1,000
absolutely.
$200?
But and I'll explain to why. It's everyone even says it too. Your first million is by far your hardest. So the thing about
So start with a
obtaining,
million.
yeah, the thing about obtaining and retaining money is they're so like you have to have a different approach to it in the sense that once you are at ground zero, you have to play more risky. And I know that
but
you
how?
can.
Look, making that 7 figures. How much work do you think you have to put into it, and how many years
Whatever it takes.
and
That's,
energy?
I can't
Yeah, but,
answer
like,
that question. It's subjective.
No, I'm not saying answer it with like a specific number in time, but I'm saying in your head, what time frame do you think this might happen in?
7 figures. I mean,
That's
if
a
I'm
lot.
productive, I would say maybe like 5, 6, 7 years.
So
it's worth for you that making all that money and then something goes wrong and you lose it all the way, like really fast. Because obviously making money is harder than losing money, right? You can lose money so much faster than getting money. It's going to take you so long to make.
I would not have that. It would not be worth it to lose it all the way. But that's the thing. That's what
you're taking the risk of putting more time into learning how to make that money, less about managing the money and investing the money to obviously.
So therefore, you're going on
faster.
the risk of losing money.
The problem is when you when you learn to make money, you're also learning to manage it. They're simultaneous.
That's what I was just going to say. Like you making 7 figures. I don't think what you said with like focusing 100% on making money and then less on like actually pertaining the money would be the right case with going for 7 figures.
In my eyes, it would. Because the way I see it, if I have, like, let's say I'm starting off with $100. What I was trying to say before is they're two completely different approaches. When you're at that level where you're ground zero, right? You're trying to obtain rather than you are trying to retain. Yeah. It's completely different approaches because you should be playing it more risky. Because why? Because you have nothing to lose. You're at ground zero. But when I'm already at that 7 figures,
then you got a lot to lose.
That's when you have a lot to lose, and that's when you learn to manage it. That's when I learned to manage it, and that's when I'm not going to be as risky. Which is why I'm saying they're different approaches. So once you make that 7 figures, you lower down the risk. But then after that point,
why lower the risk at 7 figures? Why not?
Because then you have a lot to lose already. You're at 7 figures. I should probably lower the risk because what if this doesn't work out and then it'll plummet?
So I would say part of retaining money is knowing that you have to diversify, correct? Mm-hmm. Your assets. So let's say you're on the road, 500,000, and let's say it's towards trading, which is what you focus on right now. Mm-hmm. Part of that skill technically is understanding that you should never put 500,000 into one trade. Because you know, that's a skill technically. So you could lose it all at once. And I know you are not the person who thinks you would do that.
I'm not going to disagree, but you're just that is so like an absurd thing to say. Scenario? You think someone would put 100% of their bank account?
Okay, even 50%.
Into one thing?
I think some people would. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Look at any person. You understand? You see what you don't understand is how cocky people think they are, and how much they forget that luck played as big of a factor.
Let alone make mistakes.
Let alone, you're gonna learn the hard way. You even know Hermosi.
Sure.
You even know Hermosi. Before he made millions before he lost and had $1,000 in his account. Why was that? Why do you think that was?
Because he couldn't manage it.
And that's all he talks about now, how to manage it.
But I'll tell you what, I don't think if you successfully made 7 figures, I don't think you, as someone who worked for that, is going to willingly put that type of, and you're going to let that shit plummet. Sometimes it's out of your control, but in my scenario, it absolutely wouldn't be. If I'm risking 1% of my account, you can talk about everyone else, but this all started because you were talking about me. So in my scenario, I wouldn't. And I don't think anyone who managed to build up 7 figures, I mean, Sadula said it a lot himself, that is a lot of fucking money. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a statistic that like, something over 50% of Americans don't even touch that in their fucking life because they're making like 35 grand a year.
And you're trying to do that in 5-6 years. That would be like a very
it's a lot,
big success.
But I know it's possible because I've seen it time and time. So why would I not shoot for that?
Yeah. Plus, I personally don't really know trading enough for me to know that how getting to the 7 figures, how that would even look like.
So,
but that's another thing. If it's something that is like high risk, high reward kind of thing, then you can get there a little faster. But obviously, high risk would play in that specific position. But
I think you're kind of seeing the positives of making that money. You kind of happen from 0 to $1 million.
But I think he's going to learn, though. I actually think, I am going to tell you straight up, I don't think that you're going to get to the 7 figures and then you will realize that managing money, realizing how important managing money is. I think you're going to...
Let's ask this. You have 750,000. Are you putting any attention?
Am I putting any what?
Attention into managing? At 750,000.
Absolutely.
Okay, so why'd you say $1 million?
Because I'm going to manage at both.
But you said only once you hit $1 million.
So, my problem is I don't think you understand trading as well as I do. When you build up that 7 figures, I'm not saying you just fucking throw it all away. I mean, once you've already made 750,000, I'm pretty sure you already know what you're doing. Disagree?
You said
You gotta know what you're doing.
You
Set
gotta
up what you're
already
doing,
start
but
learning
that's
managing
managing.
money.
I'll start managing. Guys, I'm not saying you throw managing away. I think that's what you guys are interpreting. Absolutely
Oh,
not.
yeah, no,
Never
we're
once
not.
did I say that. You should not throw it
That's
away.
what
But I asked you, what's your goal with already starting to focus really on the managing part? You said 7 figures.
Yeah.
That would mean that you are focusing so much on making the money, less about managing before you get to the 7 figures.
But that doesn't mean I throw it away. I would prioritize making it more than I would managing it. But I'm not gonna throw away that aspect.
I don't think
because you have to
any
have
of us
both.
think that
And
you're
what
gonna
I'm
throw
trying
it
to
away
say
because you can't.
is that when you're at ground zero, it is more important to me, and I think it should be more important to anyone else that you focus on obtaining rather than retaining. And I think you agreed with that, right? So that's what I'm trying to say here. And it's the same thing because let's talk trading, which was I was talking
Let's
about.
talk about
Right?
habits.
And it's
Let's talk about
similar
habits.
too because
Let's
you
talk about
wait. But before we get
habits.
into that, it's similar too because you always say yourself you should never invest in the stock market at this wage. Why do you not do it? Why do you say that? You don't say you should never, but you say you don't want to. Why?
Why do I personally?
Yeah,
Because I'd rather invest in myself.
exactly.
What does that? What do you mean exactly?
I'm trying to say that if you would rather, why do you not, other than like investing in yourself, you believe that would outweigh the con of benefit of that would outweigh the con of investing in the stock market because in the investing you're
I
only going to
believe
make
myself more
5%.
than something out of my control.
But when you
I'm a guy who likes to be in control.
uh-huh.
I would rather put my money into somewhere where I can control rather than I can.
But you can
That's the
also
idea.
kind of
But yes,
control the
it
stock
also-
market. It's just not.
No, you can't. You can't. That's impossible.
Well, not that you can control it, but it is also something that you can make money from if you know it well enough and if you put time into
You can
learning
learn as
it-
much as
learning
you
it.
want. There's no guarantee. And there's no guarantee.
I mean, I'm
towards
on
me.
the same page. I'm not gonna put money
Yeah.
into stock market.
There's no guarantee.
One I don't know
Yeah,
about
yeah,
enough
same,
information.
same.
I'm not gonna put money into something I
Absolutely.
don't know. Even if I did know, also knowing the fact that nothing's guaranteed, I personally wouldn't put the money into it. And another thing is when you start investing into stock markets with $10, $100, $1,000, you're always gonna go to a level where you want more and more, right? That's how you advance. So the more skilled you are, the more you will be able to invest for more return, right? So it's kind of like any type of success that you're gonna take, you always want to strive for better, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, why did you even start? Because you can start with $10, $100, $200, and stay at that level constantly and lose and gain money. But you're not really going anywhere with the money. So in order to really get into stock market with like competitively, you really have to be competitive, which is putting a lot of money into it, which I'm not for. But if somebody's in there making money, I also know that they have lost a lot of fucking money without them knowing what the fuck happened.
Exactly.
Which is a bad thing, I think.
Yeah. I just
So wait, let me
wanna-
get
it's
this
on-
straight.
wait,
You're
we're a
basically
minute
saying
40 in.
yeah,
What are we
with
doing?
20 minutes, right? So that means
No, 25.
25. It was
Yeah,
25.
basically 23 minutes and 22.
Okay.
So let me
Oh,
get
yeah.
it straight. You're saying that you wouldn't like read books about managing money, but you're saying when you would make 7 figures, you would learn how to manage money through experience, right? Is that correct? Is that what you meant? That you're like making 7 figures, right? You're not going to be on like zero level of managing money because it's going to come through experience. Is that what you're saying? Or like when are you going to start like learning actually about it? That's what my question
I
is.
think you can learn about it in the process. It's not like you're not going to learn anything
Oh, sorry,
about
I was
managing money.
misunderstanding. I was zoning out. Yes, absolutely. And the reason to that is because I'm trading, guys. I don't. My
That's why I
problem
said
is
I don't know trading.
you guys
so
don't
I'm not
understand
trying to argue
trading
too much
as well as I do. And that's
Yeah.
nothing. That's not like personal offense
Yeah,
or
of
anything.
course.
I focus on it a lot more. But the thing is, that's the whole system. All right, and then once I'm like at that thing and I'm risking like a percentage, trading right now at my level is actually, believe it or not, learning you have to manage it. Because risk management is practically everything in trading. I could be the best trader ever, but then I risk 50% on one trade, boom. So
Because it's
it
easier
goes
to
to
risk-
shit.
Uh-huh.
It would go to shit. But you have to still prioritize your attention at ground zero on how to make that money rather than managing
Why
it.
do you not put 50% in one bet?
Because
right
it's
now?
risky.
What?
Because it's risky.
Isn't every trade risky?
Yeah, but if I'm risking only 1%, then that wouldn't affect me. If I throw in 50%, that's a lot riskier than throwing in a percentage.
Why do you not think might change? I'm not saying it will. When you start getting good at it and you know, I think partially why you don't put 50% right now is considering the fact that you don't know if you're a great trader. But once you have all the undeniable evidence Why not?
Because that's too risky.
But you get 60%
You're a
of the
great trader,
time, right?
but you know what trading is. That you can never be 100% right. No
Why
one's
do you
win
think
rate
your
is
mindset
100%.
won't change?
Because
Why
you're
not?
retarded.
So he's saying, do you think the money will get in your head along with
Because
the
it does
skills?
to a lot of people.
Because making money is also a skill, right? So you getting a lot of money will know that you have the skill enough to trade more, meaning you put more money into to gain more money.
Because if I've grown my account to that point, when I'm trading $100 at 1%, right? If I'm trading a percentage of my $100 account, but I'm trading a percentage of my $100,000 account, there's still a percentage, but one's $10 and the other's $1,000.
Yeah.
But that's still 1% of my account.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
I'm saying, like, what do you think's not going to stop you from putting 50,000, knowing that you're doing great, everything's going well, you'll get to $1 million faster, right? You'll get to $1 million faster. You just got to hit it. Right? Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Because that's too risky. It's simple.
You're saying that right now, and I don't think you would. Right? I'm not saying you would.
I get that.
But I'm saying there is a chance, and if you don't obtain the
It's
idea,
like never
and
say
knowing
never,
the knowledge of, it may be self-explanatory. Understand why you shouldn't put 50%, but still.
I think it just looks like he just doesn't like the idea of like putting a lot of money into like something that is like
dude,
less
I'm
of
not
your
gonna
control.
lie. I think we shouldn't have brought trading in because without offense, I don't think you guys are educated enough, dude. If you find me a trader, a single one, who's like putting in the 50% of their account,
Any traders that's watching this, comment down below if he's right.
There's plenty. You just don't know because they lost it all. Such that is the head, don't you think?
No, I don't.
Yes, technically.
I don't.
Yes,
That's called gambling. That's not trading.
Gambling is trading, in a sense.
your opinion,
In a
yeah.
sense. In a sense.
You know what a good gambler says?
What?
Going to a casino isn't gambling. It's literally having a skill to make money.
Mhm.
That's just what they're gonna say. Same with trading, same with stock market. People are saying, "Oh yeah, I'm so skilled that I'm not really gambling or putting my money into nothing. I know that I'm gonna gain this shit back and way more than I expect." That's what they're gonna say.
And
so it's the same thing.
I would agree with that because if you're in the casino and you're proven to be profitable, and then you have a strategy, even if it's 30% win range, but you're still making money on top of that, you can. It's gambling. I mean, trading can be gambling if you go into it with like less than brain cell. Sure. Either way, we're getting off the topic, guys.
I think
we got really off topic.
I mean, it's already 30 minutes, and we just kind of.
Yeah, let's just already wrap it up, and if we have to make a part 2, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this episode will end
what
here,
a debate.
but
What a
it will
debate.
definitely
Sash.
continue.
Sash and his ignorance and never wanting to.
No,
Sash definitely wasn't lost. I don't think we won, boys. We won. Sash lost.
I stand by everything I said.
No.
I want to say this. What people don't ever really remember is we all came, despite me and Sash being brothers, despite them being twins. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we all came from a different place at a different time at a different moment.
Not me and him, but
yeah, I don't know.
I understand
We
your
still
point.
are different because you're not always together.
Yeah.
You guys are. So of course everyone's mind's going to be different,
Mm-hmm.
and there is right. Again, partially what we talked about was trading. I don't know. So you probably got me there. My whole message here is we all were from different times, and there is at the end of the day no one can really truly be right in terms of the right way to do this.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
if you think someone won in this argument, it's just because you're probably closer to their perspective and their side.
And I think another thing that people have to understand is this wasn't literally argument who's right and wrong. It was just literally our belief. Because you recently started trading. We don't really know a lot about trading or even making money and managing money. Otherwise, you would already have so much money. So I think it's just about our beliefs, what we believe now, then what we're gonna believe later on, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, I think it's just interesting for them to hear that, somebody their age or whatever thinks maybe same way as them, or like can get an idea of maybe they should change their perspective into what we said. Something that was that would benefit them.
Keeping your mind open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fascinating today, boys.
Yeah, I think it was a good discussion. We should have this more often.
We should. Next
I
time
think we should run it back for a part 2. Because
Definitely.
we didn't get into the habits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
so
that would be a good
it
conversation.
should be an honor for someone, let's say a quote of the day. Who do you think? Who do you think?
I think the
earned
person that
title?
won the argument shall have the honor, so I'll get right to it.
Ego.
Talking about being cocky. Not winning the argument.
Quote of the day.
Let's start debating the quote.
Life is neither good or evil, but only a place for good and evil.
Yeah.
By Marcus Aurelius.
Is this a religious quote?
Who wants to elaborate?
Is this meant?
I guess you
is
could-
it a
you could-
religious matter?
I guess you
Say
could say
how
it
you
both
want.
ways, but
Yeah.
Also.
he's Marcus Aurelius is just known for like Stoic quotes and stuff.
I love
so
that dude.
he does
If
have.
you've
a lot
never
of quotes
heard of
like this.
him,
But I think
You
it's,
should go get
I
to
think
know
this
him.
specific quote is like
That is
life
fucking-
is neither good
Yeah,
or
but they
evil,
steal it from
but
me.
only a place for good and evil. So you can't really say that life is either good or bad. What you do in your life is good and evil. You know what I mean? Because life itself, you can have evil things going on in the world, but those evil things help you to be stronger. I mean, life being difficult helps you be strong. So is it good or evil?
Yeah.
You could say both. That's what I would say. But the only place for good and evil. So you kind of like make this place of either doing good or evil. I don't know, it's that's how I
I-
understand it.
I agree.
Yeah, you gotta make the noise. Evil. Make some noise. You know, like the weird noises you make.
If you guys stay to the end of this episode, let me put you onto some secret sauce real quick. Secret sauce is if you go on YouTube and you search up Marcus Aurelius quotes, and it's gonna be like there's gonna probably be like some 3, 4, 5
Think
minute
deep
videos.
into his quotes.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
on the surface.
yeah.
Gotta dive down.
Okay, Sasha.
Everything.
Okay.
Shout out.
Sauce.
Shout out Georgie.
I did the last time. Somebody else do it this time.
What, you want me to do it again?
The one that won the argument shall read the shout out.
Oh my god. Here it goes.
You have to
Bro.
get- you have to get-
Wait, I'm gonna stop you there. The real winner will read it.
Bro is the missing trend triplet.
I got it. Stoically.
Okay.
On YouTube. Atbaka Kutavahadze. 3, 2,
He actually said it pretty good.
Bro is the missing trend triplet.
Who is bro? Who is
Who's
bro?
bro?
Guys, this
Andreas.
Oh, and
Andreas,
George, yeah.
Andreas.
George
Facts.
triplet, yeah.
if you see that
Shit, man.
bicep, that guy, he's
Yeah.
the size
Oh
of
my
he's
God.
definitely
He's bigger than the Trent.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
saw
for
that
sure.
picture,
Fuck.
but you didn't realize after I went crying to the bathroom and went straight to the
Oh my
toilet.
Yeah, that guy's huge. He's fucking strong.
Yeah.
See him in the gym.
Shout out Andreas
Oh,
if you're
Yeah,
watching
shout
this.
out to him.
Yeah,
And if you don't know what we're talking about, go watch our last video.
that's right.
Yep.
2 videos ago, sorry.
And there's some more videos of him.
Yeah.
Well, another one he was on
Oh,
the very
fuck.
first time. Talking
Alright.
about strong men. So that's gonna be an
Just
interesting
what
topic.
makes a strong man.
Yeah, and if you want to know how to obtain and retain money, you gotta go watch that video, guys.
Listen to him.
I don't know about that.
Alright.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you
With
for
that,
watching.
Bros, think. Wait. With that, think big, grow big.
Big.
I was gonna
Like and
say, bros,
subscribe.
think big.